Hello, welcome to Irons United for another. Well, I was going to say match review, but it's not even that, really, is it? It's sorry, a little bit of that to get on with. Yeah, it's going to be a match review. Man City against West Ham, but obviously the match has been cancelled, as you all know. It was supposed to be kick-off at 2 o'clock, so it was originally going to come on air about 4 o'clock. We were going to have live interviews with fans and phone-ins and all that kind of good stuff. But there you go, look, best laid plans, whatever. And we started to suspect that it was going to be possibly called off. I think, really, do you know what? They made the decision too late, really. They should have known it was going to be a bit of a bad day for people to move around the country and all that kind of stuff. 70, 80 mile an hour winds. They already knew this morning that the trains were being cancelled from London getting up there. So, people are already halfway on their journeys by, any other means possible. Lots of fans weren't going to be able to make it, of course. We knew that. But look, was it the right decision? Possibly the timing was the wrong decision. Should have come in earlier. But that being said, it's probably the right decision. I mean, I can't criticise them for calling the game off in these kind of weather conditions, because you do have to think about the safety of the fans and the travelling public and all that kind of stuff. But I suppose by extension, you've also got to consider the spectacle as well. Because if you got 80 mile an hour winds, let's trying to play football in that, it's we're critical at the best of times, but it would just almost be a joke to watch, really. I mean, you can't. Yeah, you'd have to. There'd be a lot of ball on the floor type thing, but you try and put a pass and then you just veer off somewhere, wouldn't it? So it's look, it's not going to be. It wouldn't be a great spectacle, would it? It wouldn't be a great spectacle. Anyway, look, I'm talking general about a game, what we were hoping to expect, but obviously, going forward, we'll discuss. Let us know in the comments. I'm going to put the comments on as well. Let us know what you think. What you think about today, about the match being called off. What you sort of hoped for the game. What about for the rest of the season? Now, our next game is on the 24th, which is 15 days time now. 15 days, so 2 weeks. I'm not sure when the Man City match is going to be rescheduled for. That's just going to add congestion to the rest of the season, of course, for us and for them as well, of course. So it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be an interesting one to see how this develops. Look, it probably gives us a little bit more time to prepare for Liverpool. That being said, but it's a complete anticlimax as well. Not only for the fans, but especially for the players as well, and the coaching staff, because they wanted to get on and try and have a go at Man City as well. That's what it was all about, really. But anyway, look. If you we're trying to develop the channel, we're trying to move the channel up to discuss lots of different topics about West Ham, different types of shows. We're trying to get more fans to come on and share their ideas and opinions by phone-ins or by video links as well, wherever you are in the world. So, get the word out there about Irons United. Please subscribe as well. Hit that bell thing down the bottom so you get all the notifications to let you know exactly when we're on as well. And also leave comments. Leave loads of comments as well. I mean, that'll always be good. And let us know your thoughts. And we try and get to all the comments as much as we can. Certainly in the live chats, we try and do that as well. But I say, this is kind of it was an impromptu broadcast or live stream because we're going to do it after the game. I say, but the game got cancelled, so we thought we'd sort of start talking about it. I mean, what was I hoping for? Well, as I said yesterday in yesterday's video, I wanted us to go for it, attack Man City, give them a good game, frustrate them, limit the space that they had in midfield. Stop them playing, basically, and try and hit them on the counter attack. Well, we'll only ever be able to know whether that plan would have worked when we actually play them eventually, whenever that gets rescheduled. But look, hey, thanks for joining in the chat. Now, Lewis, game at Sheffield on though. Well, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm not looking at that one. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it is different parts of the country. When they are talking about 70, 80 mile an hour winds, we'll see. I mean, everybody's got the right to make their own decisions. I suppose they will look at that their own particular circumstances. This is Man City, by the way, and they'll decide whether it's the right thing to do. Like, as I say, I can't, criticize them for calling it off in these weather conditions, but possibly, you know what, make an early announcement about it. I mean, that's all I would say, and I think that's all any of us can say, really. It would have been nice to have an early announcement, especially for fans that could travel a long way and having to leave really early in the morning to try and get there. But there we go. That's it. Look, I mean, it would have been interesting to see how Moyes would have, it would have been a kind of David versus Goliath type contest, wouldn't it? I think, in that it would have been really a big, tall order. But just like, David did beat Goliath, with his little sling and stone in the eye and all that sort of stuff. Or was that something else? Anyway, it would have. I think we could have given them a good game. It's about belief. It's all of us now. It's about that's the wrong one. Do you want to put that one? It's about belief. Having the belief to go at these teams, get a result, get a performance in, frustrate the hell out of them, and try and play a bit of football. A lot of people will say, "Well, look, this is not West Ham now. This is not well." I don't think we've been West Ham for a long time. Do you know what I mean? But it's this is not West Ham. We don't want to see this kind of football. It's boring football, whatever. If we have to try and frustrate these teams, but look, as I keep on saying, this is not about the style of football now. This is purely about points and results. That's all we can do. I would see a terrible performance, but get a result any day of the week right now. And I think that's all we can hope for, because the more the games go on, the more we're going to be stuck, at the bottom of the table, in the bottom three, scrapping around. It's between 6 or 7 teams, 8 teams, isn't it? Something like that. They're all in the mix. If we get some points, a point, if we got a point today, let's say, we would kind of still be there. We got another point against Liverpool, we'd kind of be in touching distance. Then if we get a win against Southampton, it's all ifs and buts, of course. Southampton playing really well at the moment. So could we fend off their revival, because they've been having a big revival recently? Could we fend them off? I'm not so sure. It's going to be a tough one. There's a lot of negativity around, from obviously the performances, and obviously the players and the fans and the way the board are reacting and all that kind of stuff. But I tell you what was really interesting to me: 2 ex-pros, ex-players, Steve Lomas and Gale came out and were almost poking the fan base a little bit, or the protesting fan base a little bit, to say, just don't protest, just get behind the team. I think they missed the point here. I don't think they missed the point. I think they're trying to say this with best intentions, but nobody's ever said that anybody, not me, but anybody who's protesting isn't, or anybody who's unhappy with the club or with the board, are not going to get behind the team. Everybody's always fully committed to get behind the team. Yeah, you'll always get some, comments there. Well, if we lose, at least it force them out. I don't want that. I never want us to see us lose. I never want us to see us whatever. But they're coming out with statements almost saying, we shouldn't be protesting and all that kind of stuff. Get behind the team. Well, actually, I think you can do both. I think you can have an opinion. I think you can show your concerns. I think you can protest in the right way, in the right manner, which I believe they are. I must say that. I think they are protesting the right way so far. And they still think they're trying to get behind the team. The problem is there's so much negativity, whether there's protests or not right now. There's so much frustration with the performances, with the results, and everything's being fueled by the actions of the board. that it's just difficult, isn't it? It's just difficult to have a sense of positivity anytime you watch the game, go to a game, travel to a game, you know. Mr. Thong, here we go. It's very simple. Pep is bold, well, yeah, and poor sod doesn't want to get wet. Well, he can get waterproofs, can't he? What's all that about? Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. I think it's, you know, they're looking at people travelling, but the thing is, if they were that concerned about it, they should have, you know, said right from the very start. Lucky that Watford ended up a draw yesterday. Packard Otto. Packard Otto. That's a cool name. Yes, well, it is really, because that was one thing that kept both those teams within touching distance of us. Certainly Brighton. Okay, I know Watford are the same points as us now, aren't they? You know, but there we go. Hammer from down under. Good day. Good day from Perth, or West Australia. Yeah, hello, mate. Yeah, so it's yeah, unfortunately, you're just about to tune in now. It's just just about to kick off, but we're not kicking off against Man City. So you have my opinions to keep you company for a couple of hours. Look, let us know what you think, guys. Let us know what you think about our current predicament. Let us know what you think. That if I want to expand on whether Nolan is going to make much of a difference now to us as well. And not necessarily just Nolan, but because we've got almost like a full, you know, coaching staff now, whether that will make a difference to us. It will take some of the burden off David Moyes and Irvine. You know, whether, you know, that will help us in the coming games. Yeah, I don't think any of us expecting too many points within the next 2 or 3 games. But we do need to pick up those games. We do need to pick up games against, well, Southampton. You've got to pick up points there. Could Man United we get points there? I think they're for the taking. Yeah, I think that even now, even the way we're playing, I think they're for the taking. So maybe there's some points there. David Moyes has come out and said we only need to win 4 games. Well, if that were the case, you would have already won 4 games, then, wouldn't you, David? You would have already done it. You know, you wouldn't. You know, we wouldn't be languishing around. We wouldn't have lost the silly games that we have. We wouldn't have, drawn games, or we wouldn't have lost from winning positions. You know, we've lost 19 points from winning positions. That's just not good enough. And you know, we all know it's not good enough. We are definitely relegation form, relegation material. When you've got too many players that never really hit form, then when you've got injuries left, right, and centre. You know, when you've got an aging squad that, or a squad that isn't very mobile, isn't very energetic, you know, you're going to have relegation form, and that's what we've got. Gus, hello, Gus. And let me just put this up here. Gus, Lomas and Gale ambushed for a view on the protest without full understanding of what's going on. Would have expected more from Gale. Gus, I've got to say, I agree with you. Yeah, I'm not sure what they were, because I thought, especially Gale, I'm not sure about Lomas, especially Gale was kind of very much a fan's guy, you know, a fan's player. He was very much, you know, of the fan. But I don't know. I don't know what made them do this. I on one hand, I can kind of understand what they're trying to say, in that, look, we've got to support the team because we're in such deep trouble here and all that kind of stuff. Leave it until we're safe, or leave it until the end of the season and everything. But the problem is, if you leave it to the end of the season, everybody scatters to the 4 wins and nobody's going to be around. No, there'd be no TV cameras there around. Nobody there to protest to. Who are you going to protest to? You know, if there's no games on. So, you know, you can continue the fight, of course, but unless you've got people, unless you've got an audience, unless you've got something, a venue to be protesting at, then, you know, so I think it's a bit misguided of both of them to be saying this. And again, it's kind of adding fuel to the fire. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure that was the right thing for them to do either, we've got to say. Phil Nolan is more insurance for Championship, being he played with Bolton in Championship to Premier League. Yeah, a lot. Possibly, but you know, what is he? Why is he insurance for that? he's played at a level, but David Moyes can certainly manage at that level if you have to. I'm not too sure about that. I don't think this is a championship preparation move. I think this is more of not many people wanted to come and join West Ham or David Moyes on the coaching staff, and he's had limited opportunities or limited availability of coaches, let's say, to come and join, and he's eventually found a couple who were willing to come and join. I think that's more the point. Hammer down under, yeah. Well, look, you've hit the nail right on the head here, especially as the way this season's gone on for the majority of the table, right? Extra 19 points would see us fourth, and FFS. That's right. I will not swear on this channel, but I know exactly what you mean, as does everybody else. FFS, exactly right. Exactly right. There we go. Right, I'm going to be joined shortly by my partner in crime here, Anton. Right, let me just add you in there, mate. Hello, Anton. How are you, mate?
Afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Just about. Yeah.
Right, do I need to get my earphones in?
Yeah, you probably do.
Right, do you want to take me back out and I'll come back in 2 minutes?
You were ready for me, were you?
No, I'm not.
No. Ready. Right, okay. He's out. There we go. He's out. He's going to come back in with his headphones in so we can hear what he's saying. But look, it's do you know what? I feel a bit deflated today. I was ready to have a good, enjoy the game. Really hopeful that we could actually put in a good performance. But it's just one of those things. You feel a bit like it's almost like a wasted weekend. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like I'm sort of working tonight, so I couldn't go to the game anyway. Anton was supposed to go to the game, but he couldn't make it. There was a couple of other lads tried to get into the game. I think they've had to turn back. Some others tried to get on trains this morning. They couldn't get up there. I mean, let us know if you're watching this or in the comments after this. Let us know if you tried to make the game, if you tried to travel. What happened? What happened? To your journey. Were you going to catch a train? It was cancelled. Did you try and go by car? And was that a problem for you as well? But let us know. But getting back to Lomas and Gale, I just don't. I don't know why they've done that. I don't know why they've come out. Was it the Sun? I mean, in the Sun, for Christ's sake. I mean, I know people get media opportunities and all that kind of stuff. But again, especially for Gale, I thought he was more of a fans favourite rather than going to be. I don't think they're necessarily siding with the board here. I think I've got to say that. I don't think there's anything like that happening. Or no, that I think they're asked questions. I think they're given their honest opinion. Lomas has, had that kind of experience from Man City, as he said before, and he knows how it can disrupt players. And we know that. We know how any kind of protest, any kind of dissension can affect players. But you've got to be living in a cave as a player if you don't know what's going on. And we always talk about players being these privileged lot, who just play, kick a round ball around and they're, getting paid hundreds of thousands of pounds and all that sort of stuff. But really, they can't be totally oblivious to what's going on. They can't be oblivious to the way the fans feel about the board, about the way scrap the board. Let's just about the way the club has been run and how the team has been performing over the last few years. It just hasn't been, a great time to be a West Ham fan, has it? It just hasn't. It just hasn't for a long, long time. But anyway, listen, I'm going to bring in Anton again. Let's see if he can hear me.
Hopefully, you can hear me a lot better now.
I can. I can hear you, mate. You all right?
Brilliant. Yeah, good.
Mate. How's your Sunday going?
Yeah, a bit deflated, like you said, to be honest, Alf. My decision not to go to the game was I actually listened to the forecast and the weather. I think you have heard me say it over the last 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
That there was chat about the game potentially going to be getting cancelled, and there was more chance of the weather really kicking in rather than not kicking in this time round. And I think they said it was going to be one of the biggest storms they've had in 7 to 8, maybe even 9 years. So deflated, but I chose not to go thinking that I would have made the journey. I know a shed load of people that are on their way. I woke up this morning really early. Kids woke me up, looked at my phone and seen a bus load of people going from Scotland.
Yeah.
I've seen train loads of people heading to London from London. I also know that yesterday the train announcements came out and said that there was going to be literally expect, if not double time, double the journey length. So therefore, I was just like, I just don't think it's going to be completely worth it. And I feel really, really sorry for the fans that have actually made that trip. Every single fan, home and away, that have made that trip today. And I'm really quite pissed off, actually, if I've been honest, with whoever's decision it was not to cancel the game earlier.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
That should have probably... And people can come in and say the weather, sometimes they predict wrong. But there was something about this one that they knew that this was coming in. And I've seen videos of what Manchester was looking like. I mean, there was no way they could expect... They already expected people to have problems on the way up.
Yeah.
And they could have avoided risk, in my opinion. And I think that game should have been cancelled a lot earlier. People have spent a bloody fortune and they're not going to get reimbursed for that, Alf.
No, absolutely right. Yeah, I'm totally with you, because it wasn't as if it was unexpected. No. In my line of work, we've known this for a few days, a few weeks actually, that it was brewing. Yeah. And we could see it happen. And you say, well, look, it's going to be a nightmare. As I said right at the start of this, it'll be a nightmare to try and get to the game. You've got to consider the safety of everybody, but also you got to think about the entertainment value as well.
Yeah.
Playing football and trying to control that ball. It would just ruin the spectacle. It'd be frustrating for the players, but also for the fans as well. So
absolutely,
the right decision to stop it. Yeah, but it
could have been done earlier.
Yeah, I think one of the comments earlier on said that actually the Sheffield United game is going ahead, but each makes their own decision, I suppose. Hammer from Down Under says, in my response to my feeling rather deflated, and I suppose you can feel rather deflated as well, Anton. He says, my advice is to drink heavily, Alf. Absolutely right. One of my favorite quotes of all time from the film is somebody says something, right, and the other guy says, we must get drunk immediately. So that's what we should do, get drunk immediately. Just forget it. Right, I'm going to bring in another person who's come in live on the chat here. Who's this?
Hello.
Hello, it's Dan. Hello, Dan. How are you?
Hello. Good afternoon, chaps. How are we doing?
Mike, look at the background. Look at the background. I've got some blinds and some cool artwork. Anton's got a headboard.
Yeah.
But Dan,
I've not got up yet.
I've got it all going on.
He's got Irons United. Blimey. Rocking a green screen, mate.
Still work in progress, but it's going all right.
Yeah, good man. Good to have you on. Right, so what do you think about the reason to cancel the game then, Dan? Right decision, wrong decision?
Well, a bit late, to be honest. I mean, they were saying the trains are going to take 4 hours to get up there, so anyone planning on getting to the game an hour before kickoff was already on the train or already on a motorway.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's far too late. Even the club coaches would have left. So
yeah.
I mean, it should have been. If it was going to be done, it should have been done yesterday.
Yeah, or very early this morning. 6 o'clock in the morning or something. But it is the way it is. Right. So look, I've posed a question before, I suppose, really, about Kevin Nolan. How much of an influence do you think he's going to be able to have for the rest of the season? And also, now that we have got a proper break because it's been cancelled today, is that really going to be a good thing for us to have nearly 15 days break now? Until we play Liverpool.
On top of the 7, what was it? 6 days on top of that. So it'll be 3 weeks really since we've played a game of football.
Exactly. Since our last game.
For me personally, I think. I mean, today's game, whether people think I'm maybe mad, crazy, or whatever, but if there was a time to play City, in my opinion, it was now, because I felt like there's weaknesses there that West Ham potentially could have really got at, I suppose you could have said, and the momentum was building to the new players that were coming on. But I don't like the idea of fixture congestion. I don't think that's going to massively help West Ham. I don't think we need 21 days, 3-week break. I mean, we've now officially had a winter break. Like it's the longest winter break we've had probably since I can even remember. And I don't think it's needed. And with regards to Kevin Nolan, I said to you yesterday, Alf, I think he hopefully can make a big impact, but I think it's a little bit too late.
Yeah.
Dan?
Why was he brought in? What was he brought in for? I mean, it was a late addition, you know, a month after Moyes was brought on. Has it been done to please the fans? Is he there because he can do the job, or is he there for another reason? I mean, we've all heard the rumours that he can lead people astray. I hope he can do the job. I mean, he's now got experience. He went from us and he went as player manager to Orient. So
he's definitely he's got managerial experience and coaching experience. So he's got the goods really,
and he knows what we expect from him.
Yeah,
both West Ham as a club and us as the fans. So
yeah.
Hopefully.
I just want to also add quickly there that I don't know if you know, but obviously we're live. So Bournemouth are 1-0 up against Sheffield United,
right?
Which isn't obviously a result we're looking for. It's only early days. It's only 15 minutes into the game, but that currently puts Bournemouth on. Does that put them on 29 if they walk out at the victory from today?
Yeah,
which would then, if that is right, that would put them 5 points ahead of West Ham. If I'm getting that correct.
I don't know. I haven't got it in front of me right now, but who? Do either of you know exactly which games we got left now? I know some of the teams. I can't remember all the games we got left.
What, like West Ham's fixtures?
Yeah. What are our fixtures? We've got obviously Liverpool, Man City,
Southampton,
yeah,
Arsenal away, Tottenham away, Manchester United away, Wolves at home, and then after that we then hit. I think our last bit of running, I think I'm right in saying this, are what you would classify as the winnable games, whether or not you classify them as that. But they're the kind of winnable games. But by that point, it could be. I mean, we could be dead and buried. Like I know people say West Ham. I know West Ham are the team that sometimes rise to the occasion against the bigger and better teams. I'm not sure if we are capable of doing that this season, depending on how these new guys perform.
Dan, let me ask you a question, mate. Let me ask you a question about Kevin Nolan again, and then we'll come back to this point. Do you think that actually, this is my theory, right, that nobody wants to come to West Ham? And it's basically that's why he's had so much trouble in getting coaches to come in. Because I'm a bit surprised. It's taking this long to get somebody in.
I mean, there's that. I mean, who would want to come to us? We're down at relegation. There's a lot of trouble in the media about the owners. The fans aren't happy. It's looking in. It's a mess. So you can imagine what being there, the stress it would add to what you've got to do. You're not going to be able to get anyone experience. Plus, you've got to have someone that works with, Moyes. It'd be hard to bring in someone from the outside, say from a foreign team, or to bring in. I think they just need someone in. Like I said before, he knows how things work, and it's just they can just throw him in the deep end. I mean.
One of the guys
probably more to do with it, but
one of the guys who usually comments on the channel, and I'm going to mention his name, Richard. He's made a few comments recently about this. He said that Nolan. I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember exactly what he said. Basically, Nolan's been brought in so that when Moyes gets sacked towards the end of the season, he can be an able number 2 to Sam Allardyce. Do you think that is just bonkers thinking?
I want it to be bonkers thinking. I really do. I mean, if we
can't see that ever happening.
If we do go down, I wouldn't be surprised to see Big Sam back. To be honest, so it could work out. But
I agree with Dan. To be honest, I mean, I think as fans we go, I can't see it happening. But look who runs us. Look who thought that we'd have had David Moyes back, and who thought we'd be sitting here potentially struggling for relegation is potentially bad with the running. Like, yeah, I completely agree. So just to confirm, Bournemouth, if they can get a victory today, would be sitting on 29 points, moving up to 15, which would put them 5 points adrift of West Ham. Obviously, West Ham have a game in hand, but that's the problem for me, is the game in hand and all that sort of stuff. We're in the bottom 3 on points. Aston Villa are above us with 25. Then it's Brighton with 27. Then it's Bournemouth as it stands with 29. Then Crystal Palace with 30. Yeah. So, guys, it's looking really shit.
There's 6 or 7 teams who could easily, drop a few points. But the problem is that the games that we've got and the perform that we're in, or have been for a long, long time, it's not. I'm trying so hard to be positive.
It's hard. It's hard.
You know what
I am. I don't want to admit it yet. I just don't want to admit it yet.
Me too.
But our will is not on the pitch, is it? So.
Yeah. So hard.
But guys, do you know what the funny thing is? Like, we could get a decent run on the goal, but by the time we play, we could be 4 or 5 points away from everyone else. And like we said, we are relying on other teams to lose. Yeah. And I think I watched something on one of the sports channels the other day. It looks like we do literally have the worst running out of all the other teams.
Yeah.
Now now you can add fixture congestion on top of that.
And every other team seems to have more fight in them, though, doesn't it? That's the problem for me. Even the ones that are around us, they seem to have more of a fight in them.
Yeah.
I think when you get the likes of Brighton coming to us, and they, we should have finished that game off, and they're allowed to come back into the game. You could say the same of Watford yesterday. I know it's a mistake, against Brighton, but own goal. But that mistake has let them come back into the game and get a draw. It's that kind of result that kills you. And let's face it, they've been killing us for a long, long time. These results.
Yeah, of course they have.
But but look. Let's. Anything else you want to discuss, lads?
Well, there's a comment. There's a couple of comments coming in saying that they're trying to see if they can potentially reschedule this game within the next couple of days. I don't know how they can do that. I don't know how quick they can make that happen, if at all they can. But if they don't make that game happen, that is going to be 21 days without playing football, which I don't certainly think is the best thing for West Ham, to be honest. And
can they rearrange a game that quickly?
I'm just seeing some of the comments coming in the YouTube channel there, and I'm just trying to see. I'm trying to actually search anywhere online to see what they're kind of hinting at.
I thought they had to have a certain amount of lead time it wouldn't be a club thing. It's more about getting the police all sorted out and all that kind of stuff. I thought you had to have a certain amount of lead time so that you can get all the security of all these games.
Well, let's be honest, though. Let's be honest. Man City won't want this situation to happen for them, considering they're in every cup competition under the sun.
Sure.
And fixture congestion for them. I'm just going to actually have a look at the league and see what it's like up the top there. But
they've got the League Cup final, haven't they? They're still in Europe, of course. They're still in the FA Cup.
Yeah,
obviously still kicking around the league somewhere. I don't know where they are in the league, but you're absolutely right. So they've got a lot of games to play. Yeah, if they could arrange it quicker, fair enough. Who cares about this winter break, really? The players have already had enough time off, if you ask me.
There's something else to talk about, though, and I don't know if any of you've seen I don't know how much of and I never actually seen David Moyes' interview talking about Declan Rice. I don't know. Did those words come out of his mouth?
Sorry, I missed it. What did he actually say?
It was something along the lines of what was it?
He'll go.
Yeah,
he'll go if we get relegated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I did see that. Yeah.
Is that
I'm hoping it's a misquote. Right.
Is that something you want to hear, though, Dan? Is that something you want to hear from the manager?
I'm hoping it's a misquote, and I'm sure it is. But wouldn't be surprised. You know, it's just it's defeat, isn't it? It's like the manager's already admitting defeat if he said that. Like, oh, they're already looking to offload him, and they already. It's like saying, "Give us offers." He's available, isn't it?
Yeah,
I wish I had your green screen there, Dan, so I could show tumbleweed, rolling down the road at the end of the season. That's it.
That is not one I've got.
it'll be like the Mary Celeste. Everybody gone. That's right, mate. I tell you. And I would be. He's probably just facing facts. He's probably thinking, right, you know what? These players, they're going to go. If we go to the championship, they're going to go. You don't want to hear it, but
you absolutely don't. But I'm just trying to see what the kind of quotation was. But it does look like he has sent something along those lines. He's hinted that maybe you'd have to sell star player Declan Rice, which I think, do you know what? Like, the difference is I don't think you need to tell the fans that.
No.
I think the fans can probably put two and two together and actually work out that our best players will go. And a team like Manchester United who are desperately looking for a player like that will stump up the good money for him. But he said that he's been quoted by The Guardian. In my mind, he is arguably the best holding midfielder in the country. And the best thing about Declan is he will get better. Quite often, when building a club, you have to sell. I hope it's not the case with Declan, but I said the same with Wayne Rooney and Les Scott whilst at Everton. But the team got better because we were able to sign the right players to replace them. If that ever came around, I'd hope we'd be able to do the same here as well.
Yeah, that's a big risk. I don't think you'll find another Declan Rice anytime soon. That's the problem.
If we stay up, though, is Declan Rice gone?
He could be. He could be as well. Even if we stay up, he could be gone. That's the problem. I hope he wouldn't. Because we'll always need him. Yeah. I think if we go down, I think this is my issue with what David Moyes has said. For me, he shouldn't even be talking about relegation right now or anything, or selling players or anything like that. It's the wrong time to be saying something like that. In fact, I want to see him in a press conference responding to any question like that, saying, "I'm not answering that question. We're not talking about that. We're talking about surviving in this league. That's what we're talking about." Dan, what do you reckon?
Is it up to him though? Is it up to Moyes? Is he just saying what he's heard? Isn't really responsible for all the coming and goings at the club.
No, true.
Players.
True.
Or is
is it just what he's getting passed down?
Or is he responsible but passing, making excuses? I don't know. This is my biggest thing when it comes to Moyes. It's like, I'm putting this question out to everyone who's watching. Do you think Moyes is a yes man? Because, and I'll ask you guys that one before I answer. Do you think Moyes is a yes man?
Dan, and if you first.
I think he is, because we know anyone who's controversial has opinions that oppose to the owners. They don't get to come back in, as we see with Moyes' appointment.
Yeah.
So I think he is. What would they bring him back in if he wasn't? If he didn't do exactly, if he wasn't a puppet, they wouldn't have brought him back in. So, yeah.
What do you think, Alf?
I think he would like everybody to think that he's not a yes man. I think he likes to make everybody think that everything's his decisions. But I think you're right. When it comes to players and he doesn't have the running of the club and all that sort of stuff, yeah, he's an employee just like everybody else. He just does as he's told.
I genuinely think he actually is, and I think that's when we spoke about it yesterday, Alf, and even the other weeks or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know if he has got the big enough balls to try these things. Like, he does state that he loves the club, and I have no doubts that he probably has got a lot. Well, I don't know, actually. If you don't have an affiliation with the club, how can you fall in love with a club when they treated you that way?
Yeah.
Whether or not, the only way we love West Ham, it's nothing to do with the board. The board have not made me hate West Ham. They've made me not enjoy my experience much more. But I don't hate West Ham. I'll always love West Ham. I'm here before they were here and after they're going to be gone. So Moyes to make the statement of, I really missed my time and stuff like that. Like, mate, you were treated like a total dick and you've come back and, kind of
then
like
you expect that to change.
yeah, you expect that to change, and I mean, I can see the comments coming in saying there is a.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, you're back. You blacked out for a little bit.
You all right? You feeling dizzy?
Yeah, okay. No, he's gone.
There he goes.
No, I think the thing is with Moyes is that, what concerned me more, and I suppose concerned me more, a lot of fans were concerned about, is that since he wasn't allowed to stay on last time, he hasn't had another job. Nobody's taken him on, in the managerial role. And I know he's been doing other stuff, UEFA coaching, videos and all this kind of nonsense. But essentially, he's been out of work, really. And we're the only ones who've taken him back on. So you're in that regard, he's going to be a yes man. He's going to be so thankful he's got a bloody job. And yeah, he can spout all he wants about, of finishing the job and taking us on further.
We're going to win games and I'll win games and he's. I mean, he hasn't got a good track record with us anyway. He's like,
I mean,
he's one of the worst win rates for us as a manager. So
the interesting thing is, right, that he's saying that he loves the club and everything. You say, well, what is it about West Ham that you love? Because let's face it, the first time you were here, the fans didn't really like you, didn't warm to you. Well, most fans. It was a split. It was a divided fan base. Let's put it that way. I don't think it's fair to say that all the fans didn't want him or didn't like him. I think a lot of fans were quite happy with the job that he did. And we survived and everything like that. But I don't think he got overwhelming adoration from all the fans. So I'm not sure where all this love for the club comes from. I don't know. I think that's a bit empty words, really, from my point of view.
If I was working a job, earning the money he gets, and I got sacked tomorrow in 6 months' time and being out of work, they come back and said, "Do you want to come back and work for us? We'll give you a bit more. We'll give you this improved deal." I'd say that was my favourite place to be in the world.
Yeah.
It's money, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nobody's ever going to walk into a football club and go, "Really didn't want to come here. Fucking hate the club. Thanks for the money," are they? It's the same thing. It's the same thing that everybody says. Sign a new player. Hey, glad to be here. Have your picture taken, and then sometimes it works, and sometimes they want to fuck off to China after a few months.
Yeah. Absolutely right.
And then get reduced to 50k a week and can't leave.
Yeah, right. Oh dear. And so, what do you reckon about? So let's get into some of these comments, shall we? Jazz, hello, Jazz. How are you? Right model is have a director of football. Well, we had one of those, didn't we? That didn't quite work out. Probably an independent director of football might be better.
Alf, see your reply there. Alf, your reply was kind of borderline David Sullivan-y.
What?
Just say yes. Just say yes.
You look at his face. Your reply, look at his face.
Oh.
That was a kind of David Sullivan-y answer.
This is where you need a green screen to have lightning bolts coming out your head. Come back, Alf. Come back.
It's all right. I'm back. Don't worry. I'm not throwing my toys out the pram. Crikey.
See, we knew you'd do what you was told.
But I tell you what, I take great offence to
that. No, I'm sorry. But do you know what?
How dare you?
It is what he said. He said, "You wanted a director of football. We gave you that. Look how that turned out. I'm back." That's exactly what Sullivan does.
But the point is, when you put it like that, fuck me, I did. Oh, crikey.
You've done it. He's kippered. Bamboozled.
It's going from bad to worse, this is, isn't it? Blimey. No, look, the point is that it didn't quite work out, but they should have got a proper director of football in who is independent, who's have a proper structure and all that kind of stuff. And please, David Sullivan, do not get involved in any transfers ever again. And, David Gold, keep your mouth shut. And Karen Brady, just do something else. Go shopping, whatever. I don't know. Just don't have anything to do with the club anymore.
Alf, there's a comment that's come in. If you can grab it, it says the board is running this channel too. Can you throw that up?
Oh, no. What does it say? Who said that? Oh, I've got to put it on. There we go. The board is running
Jesus
this club.
Christ.
Otto,
Insulted. I'm insulted.
that is an absolute disgraceful comment.
Can I briefly address this though? So we've been running. Irons United's existed for nearly 4 years actually. The YouTube channel about 2 or 3 years. Anyway, did you ever hear once upon a time when Brady decided to meet with some of the social channels and social platforms, and there was some communications between some of the younger boys of the Sullivan family, in particular to myself, and there was some social channels that were asked to go along and invited to the club. Now, I'll hold my hand up and say I declined that offer completely because my personal opinion on the board's not great, but I didn't want to be potentially a mouthpiece because you could easily get offered. And I'm not saying any other channel's done this, but you could easily get offered a kind of, you say something and we'll give you a shout out and you'll get more followers, blah, blah, blah. But at that time, I was just like, I don't think that's what I really want to do. I don't want to be the mouthpiece for the club. I just want to be completely independent. And I think we all agree with that, everyone that's involved in that.
Yeah. As a brand, we have to remain impartial. But there's some of us here are middle ground. There's some of us that are very much against the board, very much so.
Yeah.
And, we just try and remain impartial. There's no one here that actually on Irons United, I don't think, that is actually pro ball, to be honest.
No.
But, I mean, if they were running a channel, we'd be a lot more professional, that's for a start, and I wouldn't be able to get drunk on match days, which I wouldn't be here. So
to
I'd
be
much
fair,
rather get drunk and be under the
guy's
thumb.
just written back in the comments saying he was jesting, so...
Yeah.
No, you weren't. You weren't
See,
joking at all.
It's easy to upset Alf, guys. You can't wind him up like that.
Yeah, look, I'm old and infirm. I could easily have a heart attack or something. That's no good.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, look, I tell you what. On that point about the channel and about or trying to go to meetings like with a club or have an interview with a club. Let's just talk about when that. I forgot what his name is. Ian Abrahams, Moose from TalkSport, went to interview David Gold. The Matt slating that he got. And I think totally this is what he should have done and what he actually did do. What he did do, he compromised himself by only asking the questions that David Gold will allow him to ask, right?
Yeah.
What he should have done was say, I want to ask you these loads of questions. If so, then we can have the interview. If not, we won't. It's as simple as that. But on the other side of it, let's say if we wanted to have a discussion with the board, right? Let's just say we are Irons United and we represent, 5 people, let's say. That's it. And we're a big fish in a much bigger West Ham pond, right? So we represent 5 people. We want to talk all these things. Now, our first thing is that we want to get you out and we want you to leave our club, right? This is our stance, right? This is our Irons United stance. What do you think they're going to say to us? They're going to say, there's no way we're going to give you an interview.
Yeah, no, of course.
So the only way anybody is ever going to be able to have an open conversation with them, like in terms of media, like an interview, is to approach them with a little bit of, hey, let's just talk about this a little bit. How can you improve the club? What's going wrong? All that kind of stuff. Is it all bad? Is it all good? Are you misunderstood? That's the only way you can approach it. And I think, and the problem is, as soon as you do that, you're kind of selling yourself short because you're not really getting to the crux of it. And that's a problem. We will never be able to have a proper, honest debate with the board because they just wouldn't want to let us ask them the proper questions.
And if you did, they'd just bat it away.
Yeah, exactly right. It just wouldn't happen. So what happens then is that they get little media interviews with like what they call mainstream media, all that kind of nonsense. And they're only asking or answering the questions that they already get briefed about beforehand. And that's the way it works.
But the thing is,
know.
like, I would have no qualms about. I'm not saying they'll ever want to be interviewed by us. We've asked the club several times, as has probably every other fan channel, and I would quite happily give them the questions beforehand to let them do a bit of prep, and I would let them filter some of them out as long as they would let me address or let us address, or any fan that was interviewing them would address some of the real questions, not the questions that these media outlets have been asking, but the real questions. I mean, what would be the questions we would ask them? That's the thing. It couldn't just be down to the other thing as well, as if we ever got the opportunity, which will never happen. It wouldn't be a case of just us designing the questions. You'd have to put it out to the fan base. And
not only that, I think they would choose which of us they'd actually want to have the interview with, because a lot of us are quite outspoken. I mean, I'd probably break my rule of not saying the C word on the channel as much. I mean, what would you ask them? Probably, first of all, what the fuck are you doing? I think is what everybody wants to ask. What are you doing? Do you have a plan or?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? It's a bloody difficult one, because you say, if you want to get the answers to the questions, say, where do you start? Well, where's all the money? What's happening? What's the financial situation of the club?
Yeah, or keep going on about gross spend and net spend, and
let's talk about proper figures. Let's talk about how the club is actually structured. Let's talk about why the facilities are the way they are. Let's talk about scouting systems.
Why do you speak in the media?
Yes. Yeah. Why don't you just keep off Twitter and speaking to rag media outlets, all that kind of stuff. It's a difficult one, but you're right there. I mean, would we as a online channel, do we have the right to go asking questions, of the board, without canvassing opinion from the whole fan base?
Absolutely not. We have to get the opinion of the fan base, 100%.
But then again, can't we sort of gauge that for ourselves, what people want to know?
Well, I suppose we could, but I think if that opportunity ever arose, I would at least like to think we would give the fans that weren't us, because we are a minority. Although I think in our minority there's a good varied opinion base. There's some that are like, we're all probably negative towards the board, but there's some that are things like protesting, some that are not protesting. So there's a kind of varied opinion there. But you would have to at least give a couple of questions out to the fan base to then get a really strong, varied, maybe not all, but some at least. I don't know, maybe not. I mean, we were talking about something that probably never happened, which is really annoying as well.
I tell you what, one of my first questions would be, and I would say this, I would say, do you think your relationship with the fan base is a good one or a bad one? And then I would say, okay, if they say, oh, it's a good one, I'd say, well, if it's a good one, why are there protests out there? Why are people so dissatisfied? Oh, if it's a bad one, say, well, how can you repair that? What can you do to change that?
Yeah.
And then you say, look, what would you say for all the fans that actually want you to leave the club? Are you going to leave the club? Would you ever consider selling? Okay, if not, then what are you going to do to him? It always come back to, what are you going to do to change things for the better? If you're going to stay, if you're not going to leave, if we can't force you to leave, then what are you going to do? Because otherwise we're going to have a status quo, nothing ever changes. So it's like Groundhog Day. Every year we'll be coming out, and again, and again. And it's the same thing. So something's got to change. Either they leave or they change and completely, rejuvenate the club. But the biggest thing that they've got to do is repair. Sorry, if they are going to stay, they've got to repair that relationship with the fan base. And that's all the fan base.
As you were saying, like, if you are asking them about if they feel what the fans' opinion would be of them, they'd think they got on with the fans. They'd think they did have a good rapport with the fans, because the fans they meet, i.e., if you've ever been corporate, and you're wearing a suit and you get in a 5-course dinner and stuff like that, they're the fans they meet. So, and then they see, maybe 2,000 fans outside protesting. They would, in their mind, they would consider that a small minority, because everyone they meet kisses their ass. So, and be the same as anything. If everybody you meet, like us, we might get 1,000 views or 3,000 views. We might get 500 likes and 3 dislikes. But you're not to everyone's taste. Same as them in the grand scheme of things. For them, it is having a few minor dislikes, 2,000 people protesting and 50,000 people outside. So with them, they probably think they're very well liked.
Crikey. Yeah, delusional.
I mean, the amount of questions it would be endless. It would just be, where do you start and how do you maintain your professionalism, I suppose you could say, and not let... You would have to really rewind all the way back and do it and start from the beginning and dissect each point they made, even to the point when they took over the club, even to the point when they got rid of Avram Grant and brought in Sam Allardyce, and then when they got rid of Sam Allardyce and brought in, Bilic, wasn't it, after Allardyce? Was it Bilic, yeah?
Yeah, you're right. You probably have to do
Just
some kind of chronological order and say, look, why have you done this? Why has this happened? Why,
And then what was your thinking behind getting rid of Bilic? What was your thinking about the Payet situation? What was your policy on transfers then? What was your policy on transfers changing from moving to stadiums? What was your thinking behind announcing to the world that you were going to sign 2 world-class centre-forwards the day after we left Upton Park? When that little ticker went across the Sky Sports scene, what was your thinking behind the Zaza deal? What was your thinking behind letting Payet go back to Marseille? When you sacked Bilic, when you brought Pellegrini in, your media, it's just endless, absolutely.
If you could go back 5 years, would you leave Upton Park? This is what I'd probably ask. Would things be different? Would you still leave? Would you still carry on?
But do you know what? A good question. That's a good question. But do you honestly think that they would answer that?
Honestly, no.
Honestly, because
no.
I think if they were to answer that honestly, and sorry, even if they're delusional and think that but there's no way they would ever go back on their word now.
The thing is,
and they probably would do the same thing because they made a fortune out of it.
Yeah, I think the answer they would get is, and I think you would get a truthful answer from them, and they would say, yes, we would still make the same decision because it's the right decision. That's what their thinking is. They are adamant it's the right decision to have come to, move to London Stadium.
Yeah.
And whether we like it or not is irrelevant to them,
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's an interesting. Look, let us know in the comments below. Let us know in the chat. What questions you want to know. What answers do you want? Let us know. I mean, because if anybody is ever going to have an opportunity to do this, if anybody, it doesn't have to be us. It could be any channel. It could be any newspaper, any interviewer, whatever. It could be a cab driver who picks up David Gold or David Sullivan and says, "Hey, look, all right, Dave, I'm going to ask you a question," or 50, right?
It's most likely going to be Stelios bumping into him in a jazz club, I would think.
Yeah.
Guys, just to let you know, Sheffield United have equalised. Sorry, Sheffield United. I just want to repeat, Sheffield United have equalised. So it's
checking that. I'm checking that.
Bournemouth won.
We're just checking our sources.
That's bringing Bournemouth back down to 27 points. So that's them within reach of West Ham. Same goal difference, but they're 3 points ahead of West Ham. So that's a lot better. And let's hope that Sheffield United can continue that and drop them down another point, because we need as much help as we possibly can. Listen, what about Sheffield United? On Sheffield United, what about Sheffield United?
They're brilliant.
How jealous?
Been brilliant. They've been brilliant. And also they're doing it with players largely that are not your big creative Premiership type players. They're just doing it with good, honest players who've got some talent as well. Again, it shows that you've got to build a team rather than buying big money individual players. Absolutely right. In the academy is as important as anything else. Yeah. I think if we survive this season, we've got to change. We've got to change the way we do our business, the way we get players in. I know we all love get excited. We've all been excited about these players that we've got, but they've all failed, really. They've all totally underperformed and failed. We've got to change that. If we've got any hope for the future, we've got to change.
I think I think on that as well, there's been a lot of mismanagement, as we know, from the top. So mismanagement from the recruitment of the manager, the coach, and then mismanagement of the actual players. Because I think that out of every single signing that's been made over the last, say, 2 years, there are definitely players there that can make a difference for West Ham, but have been blatantly mismanaged and not played well, and dropped when it's not been right, or continued to play when it's not been right, or played out of position, or not played to their strengths. And every club they've come from, and borderline every club they've moved on to, they have either picked up form again, and it just can't be. It's got to the point now where it's too coincidental that it keeps happening at West Ham. That's the thing. I think that's the key. Like, that's something else, I suppose. A question you could ask to the board and the management situation there is, look at. I would love to look at that. Maybe that's a video we can do in the future. Let's look at the players that West Ham have signed. Let's look what happened when they came to West Ham, and look what happened when they left. They wouldn't have been fantastic, but you could bring Faguli into this situation, for example. And I mean, out of that lot of players that West Ham bought when we first moved into Olympic Stadium, the only player I was reasonably positive about was actually Faguli. In my opinion, I was actually reasonably motivated by him. I thought he'd done enough to stay. He would definitely have been a decent squad player now. He has moved on. He's gone to Galatasaray, and I don't know what he's done recently, but when he moved, I think he's won titles. He's scoring goals and he's assisting goals. And I know it's a different league. I'm not stupid. I know it's a different league, but he showed promise when he was in the Premier League in the first season.
Yeah.
Players like Gökhan Tor, that's a different ballgame. Players like Havad Nordveit, that's a different ballgame. I know people started to try and stick up for Nordveit and thought that maybe he was mismanaged, and probably he was. But I just think to myself, like, maybe if West Ham's recruitment and they don't have any sustainability with it, and you look at another, like there's no sustainability even with the sell-on factor. We don't sell players on and make any form of profit. We don't get anything back from it. We just sell and then we don't replace, and then we're stuck with this big, massive hole. We have not recovered since we lost Arnautovic. Previous to that, we had not recovered since we lost Payet. Previous to that, we have not recovered. We're not even recovered since we lost Kouati, when Kouati was on form.
Yeah, but we can all agree that if it wasn't for Arnautovic, we would have got relegated that season.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that a David Moyes thing for putting him up there, and putting him in more of a forward role? Is it just coincidence that he got into form, or is it coincidence that he became the talisman of the club? All that kind of stuff, and that's what hurts so much. Again, it was like another Payet type thing when it all went kind of completely sour. And I just think, how can you go from one season to being loved by the fan base? All the kids want your name on the back on their shirts. All mums and dads are saying, "Yeah, okay, I'll buy you a shirt. You get an Arnautovic on the back." All that kind of cobblers. He's a player of the year and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, next season, it just goes to hell. It's just
you break them kids' hearts.
He did. And shame on him. Shame on him.
But you know what? See, it's funny, right? We've had this chat plenty of times over the transfer window, and we talk about Payet right now. I don't know if you've seen some of the statistics that came out recently. He still is West Ham's highest creator of chances, and he's not even been at the club for 3 years or 2 years since he's left. The next one is like Lanzini, and but then you keep seeing the odd clip of him in France for Marseille. He is borderline still unplayable, and I put this question out. We've probably gone over it several times, but I put it out right now to all the fan base.
Yeah.
Would you have Payet back? And if you say yes, tell me why. And if you say no, tell me why. But go a little bit more deeper than just saying no because he's a CUNT. Give me more than that. Give me a little bit more meatiness. But let me know why, because I don't think that's enough. Here's another question. Are West Ham big enough to be able to knock back that quality of player? So, for example, Payet apparently came to West Ham when we knew he had some issues. He had some attitude issues. Arnautovic came to West Ham when we knew he had, attitude issues. Do we attract a player like that because that's the only kind of player we can attract? Because other clubs won't touch them with a barge pole, that we will, and we will get something out of them. A bit like the Di Canio situation, and look how that turned out for West Ham.
Yeah. I think maybe we're all hoping that will happen again. And it probably does happen for a limited period, but then it all goes, completely wrong again. Payet, I never want to see again at all. I could not do it. I could not do that. That really disgusted me so much. And not only because of what happened, because I just don't think you can ever get that back again. You can't get that form back again for a club. I think it would just be a really bad investment bringing him back. It's just same with Arnautovic. Arnautovic come back never again, because not only is it a bad move, I just don't think he would ever be able to perform for us again. Yeah. And I think if you kind of start thinking about getting these players, older players back in again to come back to the club, then you're missing the trick here. You're missing what is really important. The really important thing is not getting these ex-players in. It's actually about getting the next generation in. Let's start again, start afresh. And that's, for me, they would never be in a West Ham shirt ever again.
Just very briefly on the Feghouli thing, I've just brought up some of his stats. So since he's left West Ham in the 2017-18 season, he played 27 times, scoring 6 goals, assisting 9 goals. In 2018-19 season, he played 29 times, scoring 9 goals and 6 assists. This season, he's played 15 games, scoring 4 with 1 assist. He's played Champions League football in 2 seasons, played 8 games, scored 1 goal. So, yeah, he's pretty much on fire.
Look, I think all the comments that are coming through on the chat are all agreeing with me, Anton. Everybody is saying no.
Yeah, see, I'm reading the Hammers Down Under, no Arnie, no Payet, no Sacco, Adam Hennings, never Payet, and Snake. Yeah, all of that. Gus, Payet used to play for the club. Why would you want that back?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you'd have asked me at the beginning of the season, I'd have said, no, fuck off. He's a snake, bollocks. But this transfer window that's just gone, if we could have got him till the end of the season, even if he would have just picked us up 3 points to keep us safe, I would have taken him. I would have taken Vaz Tay back. If I thought Marco Boogers would score goals, I would have taken him back. Anything to get that 1 point or that 1 goal difference to keep us up, I'd do it. Because, a short contract. I'm not saying sign him up for 2 years and give him 120 grand a week. I'm saying 6 months. See how you get on. I know, obviously, I've seen pictures recently and he has put on a bit of timber, but, play him as a sub, let him come on, play half a game, take the free kicks, take set pieces. Yeah, hopefully he can do something.
In the ballet studio, they'll soon get rid of that.
Yeah.
Bloody
just if it was a choice between swallowing my pride and staying up or going down and saying bollocks, I'd swallow my pride. Club's more important.
I'll tell you what, lads. It's like the end of the world out here. I'm just looking out my window, and the trees are doing that, and I can hardly see 10 feet in front of me. What bloody hell! What a storm! So if I suddenly go off air, everybody, that my house has exploded or something like that.
We'll send someone down the Yellow Brick Road to find you.
Yeah.
Listen,
exactly. We're not in Kansas anymore, apparently.
Something else I've seen trickling about on social media, and this is the sign of social media and how crazy it can be, but something about Diafra Sakho and some potential fan base, and he's potentially available for free. And
of course he is.
Out of contract or something, isn't there? Or something, yeah. Right.
Is that something you would do?
No.
I'm a no to that one.
No. Dad would say yes. Of course you would, Dad. Yeah, let's pay him 70 grand a week to come in to the end of the season, just like a Patrice Evra, and that's it. He plays 2 games and he gets his boots dirty. That's it.
No, I'm just laughing. Emma's down under. The wind has blown your hair off, Alf.
Oh, right. You know what? It blew it off a long time ago, mate. Off a long time ago. Oi, what are you two laughing at? Sod off.
We're all right. No. I wouldn't take him back at 70 grand a week.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take him back at 25.
And a West Ham fan, would you believe?
Yeah. Maybe 25 grand a week. I'll take him back. That's about it.
Well.
Till the end of the season.
Crikey. Blimey.
Anything. Cover injuries, for God's sake. How many strikers we got? None.
I can hear that storm, Alf. That is
lively. I tell you what, it's really.
Are you panicking? You look like you're about to get blown away.
I'm in a 2-story structure here, and you can't feel it, but it's almost like when you go to those earthquake simulation suites, like a theme park, and it starts doing that. That's exactly what it's doing. So if I start doing this a little bit,
So if anybody wants to know what it's like to be in an earthquake, go round to Alf's. It's £3 on the door.
I tell you what, it'd be a lot more than that. Oh dear, blimey!
I'm just having a look here. So there's no other. That's there is.
Yeah, another thing why I take on another striker is because if we've got a couple of strikers on the bench, we might actually play 2 up front. Even if it is Sacco.
Yeah.
But Antonio on one wing. And then, I don't know. I'm not going to suggest they would put on the other. Would it be Anderson, possibly?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I'm just trying... Sorry, I was just having a look there at the fixtures that are coming up next weekend, over the next week or so. So, Southampton are playing, but they're a good few points ahead of us. Burnley are playing... Again, quite a few points of us. Norwich have got a game. I think their game is... I'm just trying to have a look here. See who's against. Because, I mean, the concern we've got here, like I said to you guys, was we don't play for so long. Other teams do and get results, and then we've opened up that gap. So Friday, we've got Wolves v Leicester. It's still not having an effect on us. Southampton v Burnley. Norwich v Liverpool. So that's maybe our saving grace, is the fact that Norwich are playing Liverpool, and then
but we've got Liverpool just before Southampton.
Yeah, I know.
But we'll be rested.
I wonder if they could rearrange the game for this weekend. Instead.
I can't find anything online to actually state that. Oh God, there's loads of comments. You need to get some of these comments up, Alf. It's actually quite funny.
Well, what they saying?
I
can see. Which ones? Which ones do you want me to?
Just anything. Just
that's Alf just farting. No, come on, come on. There's no need for that. I would give Jazz. I would give. Oh, that's disappeared. I would give morphine to Saka. That's right. Get on your way, son. Go on. Don't worry. Yeah. Here's a bit of a couple of disco biscuits. That's it. Get on there. Have a happy face.
I think it means throw them out your window, Alf.
Oh. Here we go.
Nice to see you on, Jazz.
Hammer down under. He says Sacco chucked his toys out of the pram when the club wouldn't pay him more. Right. I mean, there's a good argument to say that he should have been paid more, and maybe that's really why he wasn't stopped performing and everything.
But he was a problematic player from the start.
He was.
And we all knew
another
that,
shit, like we were just talking about. Another shit.
Yeah. But that's the players we can kind of attract. Did you see the comment there about Adam wrote in there, letting Diangana go on loan was ridiculous to me. Good teams have a full bench of ballers on standby. But I don't know, I think letting him go was probably a good decision, to be honest. I don't think letting Diangana go is what is going to potentially relegate West Ham.
I don't think playing for us now would help his confidence, that's for sure.
No, absolutely not.
No.
Same as the whole Bowen thing. Would we play him today? Like, it's not really the first game you want to play, is it? When you go to a new club, when it's on the cards to get trounced.
Yeah, I would still stick him in. I think in terms of Diangana, I wouldn't have let him go. Actually. I take your point completely about farming out there to get your game time and everything. But the whole point, you've got a talented lad there. You've got a talented lad with pace on the wing, and that's something that we struggle with. Well, actually, maybe you should really start investing in the youth and just, playing them a lot more or being your first team choice. The problem is it comes down to the, player recruitment policy again. You're going for older players, more world-known players, and you're putting them ahead of really good talent that just needs a bit of nurturing, maybe a little bit of guidance, a bit of football and education. But that's about it, really, But there you go. Why not get Hammer Down Under? Why not give Silva a run? Well, I think he's fully recovered from his sort of illnessy type thing now, isn't he? I think. I don't know. Have you got any?
He played. He came back. He played last week. He scored. He looked decent, but it is a whole new different level, different ball game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Before we even look at having to give him a shot, we need to try and work with Bowen, and that's the whole point.
Yeah.
We're not.
He's back last week. Yeah, he's back last week. Yeah.
We're not spending 20 million on a player from the Championship not to play him.
Yeah.
So we know that he will play and be on there.
Anton, I'm going to give this to you. What time are you guys on till?
Well, we have lives to live, and we've probably got loads of plans. So I don't plan massively on being on a huge amount longer, unless you want to be.
The question is, Raz, how long do you want us to be on?
Don't do that. He'll go and get the rums in.
Well, in that case, let's.
Last week, Raz, he's joined up the supporters club as Raz, and last week I'm on painkillers. I'm not drinking. I think you see that as a bit of a challenge.
The problem is every time. Here we go. The problem is every time we invest in youth, we end up selling them. Yeah, I mean, there's a good point there. There's a good point. Anytime there's some kind of, especially in recent years, we get a sniff of a good player. Either they're not really put into the first team and given a run of games, or they are just farmed out. They lose their confidence, whatever. So, look, or losing our investment, like with Oxford. Problems with Reece Oxford now. I've been led to believe that he's the club he's at in Germany trying to farm him out again.
Yeah, he's lost it apparently
because he's not doing well at all. I mean, I don't know the exact details, but there we go. Farcanel.
Nice one. He got you to read that out.
I'm glad Dingo went on there. He'll come back with a winning mentality, which he stayed with us. There we go. Here we go. Look, Raz, he wants us to stay until midnight. Not on your life, mate. Not in your life. Dan can't make it past 3:30. He's got more drinking to do.
I've paused the film for this. The wife's waiting to get back on it.
Oh dear, what are you watching?
Actually, it's not a film. It's a series called The Stranger on Netflix. It's quite good.
Okay, right. Here we go. Stream until the match starts.
I don't know why you're laughing at him, because it was him who just it was him who upset you, Alf.
Hey,
he's gone full circle.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, when we were talking about not staying on too longer, I didn't expect Ant to just suddenly disappear.
That's it. He said, "Right, I'm out of here." That's it.
Tapped his heels together 3 times and off he went.
There we go. When we play Man City Wednesday next, well, the next proper game is against Liverpool on the 24th of February. Then on the 29th, we've got Southampton at home. We were just talking about this, Ryan.
Can you just get rid of that banner? It's a bit disturbing because it looks like Ryan is naked in that picture.
What's that?
It looks like Ryan's naked in that picture. Yeah, God blimey.
Oh, was he? No.
He's put it back up again.
Dark. Maybe it's just my screen. It's just, I don't know. I don't know when the next Man City's going to be played. I don't know.
I've done worse, Mr. Canal.
Oxford, just another Morrison. Well, do you know what?
More
a lot of people
like
go on about Morrison, not so Ravel. They're going to say what a quality player was, but he's just a troubled, player.
He didn't get what he wanted, did he? He came out.
Yeah.
We gave him his debut. Was it first game of the season against Arsenal? It was his first game was against Arsenal. He had Ozil in his pocket, and he's been carrying him ever since because he's dragged, didn't he? He deserved a chance, and we didn't give him one. He come out, and in his head, he must have thought, that's it, I've made it.
Yeah.
Do you know, I've got through. I've had a really good game. You know, he must have been in the youth team for years, just waiting for his chance. He come out, he impressed everybody, and then he went, right, go on then, back to the under-21s, back to the youth team. Piss off loan to some shithole up north.
Yeah,
and that was it. You know, he never saw a way back in. I mean, if that was you know, if you got promoted at work tomorrow and then demoted a week later, you wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah.
You won't be happy.
Now, Falcon out.
Stun you again.
No, Far Canal. I'm doing it properly. I'm not falling for it. Come on. It's not Don Key Dick here, you know, all that kind of stuff. But we've met each other. Hang
on, we've just had a message from Drew Peacock saying everyone will fall for this.
But we've met, haven't we? We met at Wickham last season, the women's FA Cup semi-final, didn't we? I'm sure we did. And if we have, no,
that was a Regent's Canal.
Dad's looking at me, going, "You went to a women's game?" Well, I did.
No, that was a different canal. That was a Grand Union Canal that runs through there.
Big Effie there we go. Right. It is a question for you. Should we cottonwool Antonio for more winnable games? I think we've got to be very careful with him. Definitely. Should we keep him on the subs bench and bring him on as an impact sub? Good argument for that.
Well, he can't play. He can't play a whole game. It seems
exactly.
But I mean, I wouldn't want to see him come on in the 84th minute.
No,
which Moyes is done for years and years. So
I think either he's a 60-minuter. He'll come on at 60 minutes, or he'll start the game for 60 minutes. You know. There we go. We did meet. There we go. Yeah. Mr. Canal. We did meet, and it was good to meet you. Thanks for coming up and saying hello. And if you ever do see us at the games or whatever, wherever we are, please come and say hello. We are all friendly. Well, I am. Dan isn't, and Anton just leaves. Anton just leaves the party without even saying goodbye.
He's one of them drunks that he decides it's time to go home and he just wanders off.
Right.
But in all fairness, like the Proclaimers, he does walk all the way home to Scotland.
Well, that's true. Anyway, look, the weather's kind of slightly improved here. I can see 20 feet instead of 10 feet now.
It's Andy, you telling everyone that when no one knows where you live, Alf.
There we go. Look, it is shaking.
Should I try and get a weather background behind me?
Yeah, you should. Oh, dear. You're going to have to tell me how you do all that anyway. Right. Anyway, because otherwise everybody's going to have this behind me for years.
I'll tell you what, if you disappear off the screen, Alf, I'll take a screenshot and we can all have your front room behind us.
Brilliant. Right, Gus, let's just leave it with this. Gus says, I think Antonio can earn us points in less winnable games. Yeah, I think you're right.
Agreed.
I think he can. I think he's probably our only player who's likely to salvage something for us. But there we go.
There's two types of teams. One's where they're not, let's call them not big teams, and they play hard physical games. And they're the ones we should be winning. And then there's teams with a bit of flair or, passing, the likes of City, Liverpool, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Would you play them against those tough games, those physical games, or would you play him against the big teams hoping he can nick something there, knowing he's not going to get pushed around as much?
Oh gosh, that's such a difficult one, isn't it? I
know what you're thinking. Fuck him. Let him play them all. Run him into the ground. Points mean prizes.
He's a commodity. Do you know what? I would save him for the winnable games then. Okay, I would. See, that's a better option. Same for the winnable games, and the rest, let somebody else, go for them. I don't know. It's such a difficult one. I don't know. That's why I'm not a manager. Anyway, look, everybody's saying what a great show, Dan, you've put on. So thanks to you. This is all down to you, Dan, and your green screen. your green street screen. I can't even say that. Try and say that.
It's not actually a green screen. I'm actually, what I've done is I'm outside. I'm actually outside the stadium. What I keep doing is I move the camera around now and again, and it looks like, I've got all the players lined up just by a wall.
Oh, that is brilliant, mate.
Bamboozled.
Brilliant.
Bamboozled.
Look at the
you can all go home now. Cheers, thanks. We're nearly
done.
If
yeah. Look at the
cheers,
quality
Moyes.
of that brickwork. I love the pointing on that brickwork. Love it. Very good. Look at the pattern. Look at those three. Anyway, we digress. Great show, ladies. Thanks very much, Irons United. Our doppelganger there. So here we were having Antonio fit, to be honest. Yeah, absolutely right.
That'll be Ant. He can't get back on. I'm just going to go on and take the piss.
Yeah. Right. Great. And we'll leave it at that. Great show, ladies. Thanks very much. Great show, ladies, indeed. But look, Dan, thanks very much for joining me.
Thanks for having us on.
Anton, well, thanks very much, although I don't know where you've gone. Thanks everybody who's joined us in the chat. Like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Tell everybody you know. Come over to Irons United and do all that kind of stuff, ringing bells and all that sort of stuff. And
don't forget, before every game, and after every weekend game, and sometimes after weeknight games, we'll be at the supporters club at the rooftop. Yeah, quite a big slidey thing. So come up and say you've come to see us, and they'll sign you in.
Yeah,
but it makes sense to join.
Yeah, if you also, what we're going to try and have for every game is somebody doing this kind of thing. One of us who's not at the game. So we're going to be doing a pre-post match sort of video, and we want to try and get fans to come in and just do a little live link type thing, just for a minute, 2 minutes. Tell us what you think about the game, your experience, all that kind of stuff. So whether you're at the stadium or whatever, so that'd be really cool. That'd be really cool as well. But obviously, we're trying to get better. We're trying to bring more to you as well, more discussion, more opinions, all that kind of stuff, and hopefully bring you a bit of a balance, really, and a bit of fun as well. Dan brings all the IT stuff.
See this? This is the internet. That's the internet right there. The whole internet.
Is it?
Yeah, it's all in there. I've got it.
Brilliant.
That's for the It Crowd fans.
Oh, that's right. There we go. Right. See you next game, Jazz. See you next game. I will be at Southampton.
See you, Jazz.
Well, you know what I mean. At home to Southampton on the 29th.
Do you know what Hammers Down Under? He does say that a lot,
Say again.
As I was just reading Hammers Down Under, he does say that a lot,
Does what? Say who what?
You know.
Yeah.
You know. What are you on about? Oh, I see. You've got a bamboozle, Alf, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm getting too old. I'm getting too old for this. I don't know what's going on. Right, there we go. Yeah,
Right, yeah, we keep saying goodbye and we keep staying on.
Let's basically
in demand, didn't we? In demand.
He's going off already as well. Look, lads. I will be at the Southampton game. Dan, you're going to be at the Southampton game. We're going to try and meet up before a few drinks. If you come and say hello to us before, after, all that kind of stuff. As I say, if you want to do a quick video with us or just have a chat, don't have to do anything about the videos. It's not important. Just come say hello and sink a cold one with us. Yeah, bit of positivity. Let's see if we can get some points. Get in. There we go. Look at that. They do the come on, and I just say up the hammers. Right. Cheers, everyone. Thanks again.
Cheers. Bye.